ZNS Total Sports is brought to you by 4th Terrace Diagnostic Center.
Welcome to sports, everybody. The CONCACAF Beach Soccer Championships wrapping up over the weekend in Mexico. Team Bahamas put up a good fight but fell 8-4 to El Salvador in the quarterfinals. Leslie St. Fleur, James Thompson, Dwayne Forbes, and Kyle Williams all finding the back of the net. The American Open Championships for amateur MMA closing out over the weekend at the Kendall Isaacs Gym. CEO of the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation, Denzine White, was in town taking in some of the action.
There was some good fights, some really excellent contests. The standard has been really going up every year, and I think the more that these athletes get exposed to other styles and other athletes from other parts of the world, I think the higher the standard goes. And it's a tough, competing at amateur is quite hard. It's not, to reach a gold medal, they've got to fight on consecutive days. They have to weigh in every day, and their bodies take a little bit of pounding, so for them to come back every day and go back in there is really quite tough. I mean, World Championships, for example, they have to fight in a 32 bracket 5 consecutive days.
The Bahamas Chess Federation looking to expose more of its players to a higher level of competition, and the best way to do that is by traveling abroad.
We just came back from Carifta in Curacao. We did fairly well. We did not place, but it was a great experience. Most of our team was made up of new players who have never competed internationally. And as players who have just come into a BCF tournament, it's an experience. But when you go away internationally and you see all the other countries and they are excited to be there and they push, when you see that, it's a whole different experience. The next tournament we have coming up after the Scholastic team is the North American Youth Championship. It's going to be in Kingston, Canada. It's going to be a fairly tough tournament for us, but we're going to it because even when you lose, you gain a lot of experience.
FIVB Regional Development Instructor Dr. Trevor Thorold in town assisting the Bahamas Volleyball Federation. His main focus is on the youth.
They are trying to participate in the Youth Under 17 tournament in Jamaica this year, and then there's a Junior Under 21 tournament in Martinique of this year. So the objective is to get these kids, our kids, to be involved in volleyball as an outlet, as an alternative for achieving certain athletic goals. We are trying to work together to really develop young athletes, but also to really bring Bahamas back to the level that they were at in the region. They were a dominant power in volleyball in the 90s. They were always in the finals. The men were an elite team. So we want to generate that sort of interest through the development of players. At the same time, developmental process of coaches so that the coaches can help these players achieve their goals.
The BVF also putting more into its beach volleyball program, and according to President Joe Smith, they are using John Isaacs as a cornerstone.
They just came back from Cayman Islands last month. It was Kyle Wilson and John Isaacs. And then John Isaacs and Donovan Wilmot went to Nicaragua. Next up is Cuba, where Kyle and John will go to Cuba. And there are 2 in Mexico, May and June, which he will have Malaya Petit and Donovan Wilmot. But the main plane that goes on to Dominican Republic, Bonaire, Dominican Republic again, then it ends in Jamaica in November. Right now, our point system, it is adding. So by the end of the beach round, I've already applied through FIVB for the sake of a wild card. And if we don't make it in terms of points where we can still get into World Championships via a wild card. So we had that option. We already put that into action. And once they do well on these legs, we could see a Bahamas team in Beach Olympics.
The 2-week-long Girls Empowerment Hoops Camp got bouncing today over at the Kendall Isaacs Gym. The camp is just the start of what is expected to be a year-round initiative put on by CSA Basketball, and it's all about a 4-step approach.
Individual training is basically, for example, it's just one that's just individual by yourself. And an example of that can just be a full court dribble lines, okay, with just an individual by herself. Then we have the pair, which is at least 2 individuals. So you take that same example that I mentioned of full court dribble lines, and now that individual is dribbling has someone playing shadow dribble on her. And then you have the aspect of group. What does group look like in terms of development and how we train and go through this program? Group would be through that example where that individual can dribble the ball with some shadow defense across half court, pass it to a teammate, and set an on-ball screen. And so we teach from starting with 1 to 2, and a group can consist of 3 or 4 individuals. And then finally, it's the team play. That's the holistic play with the entire team.
Samara Barr has been a part of CSA basketball since 2009. She says the program has come a long way.
I know it was mostly boys and men at the time, but it was a really respectable environment. And I'm so excited that female basketball is getting year-round attention right now. And even if you're not a top-level player in high school or in the community, you can come out and participate for the 2 weeks and see if you like the environment. When I started out, I didn't know anything. I was just a defender. I didn't know how to dribble the ball. You passed me the ball, I would just pause. But CSA gave me that confidence to step out on the court and show my skills.
The Brazilian Basketball League Championship tipping off last night. David Nesbitt with 4 points as Flamengo took the series opener over Franca 82-68. Game 2 is set for Thursday. Jonquel Jones and the Connecticut Sun wrapping up WNBA preseason play with a record of 2-1. They took care of the New York Liberty last night, 98-79 in that finale. Jones 8 for 10 from the field, a perfect 5 of 5 at the three-point arc. She finished up with the game-high 21 points. The Sun opened the regular season on Saturday against the Washington Mystics. Grad transfer Justin Roberts of the Arizona State Sun Devils has been awarded the Southwest Region Arthur Ashe Leadership and Sportsmanship Award by the Intercollegiate Tennis Association. Roberts played a huge leadership role in a relatively young squad, of which he was the only senior on the roster. Roberts now plans to play a slate of professional tournaments over the summer before returning to Tempe in the fall to train and complete the final semester for his master's degree in sports law and business. From the minor league baseball diamond yesterday, Jesrado Chisholm 1 for 3, a triple, an RBI, and a run scored. The Jackson Generals won big 7-1 over Tennessee. Anthony Seymour and the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimps also in the win column, getting the best of Lucius Fox and Montgomery 3-2. Seymour 1 for 3, a run scored. Fox was hitless in 3 plate appearances. After defying the odds the past couple of weeks, Ural Forbes and the Franklin Pierce Ravens men's baseball team, they saw their season come to an end over the weekend in the NCAA Division II Tournament East Regional. Forbes ending his senior year with a bang though. He went 3 for 5, a double, a home run, 2 runs batted in, and 2 runs scored. He finished the season with 7 home runs, 33 runs batted in, 32 runs scored with a batting average of .302. They're just getting into postseason play in the NCAA Division I baseball season. Conference tournaments are this week. Cole Dubé, the reigning Atlantic 10 Player of the Week, he will lead the St. Louis Billikens into the A10 tournament on Wednesday. They are seeded 7th and take on 2nd seed Davidson. Aubrey Major and Xavier, they head to the Big East tournament as the 2nd seed and will play 3rd seed St. John's on Thursday. As for Tevin Simnett and the Lipscomb Bison, they will play in the Atlantic Sun tournament as the number 3 seed with the first round matchup on Wednesday against 4th seeded Jacksonville. And that will do it for sports. The Bahamas Tonight comes back after the break.
ZNS Total Sports is brought to you by 4th Terrace Diagnostic Center.